Peace, peace. Barigani, Islam, Salam. Hetepu Rahubat, Gino Lakoni Nani, Chief Noble Bandele. Once again on the wave. Check it out. Today's video, we're going to be dealing with Loki and the real time variance. Okay. We're going to get heavy into what's going on with this time. All right. So before we get into all that, check out indigenousservices.webs.com. It is your one-stop shop for your Moorish needs. So with that being said, I want you to please like the video, share this video, and if this is your first time, please subscribe to the channel to help it grow. All right? So with that being said, let's get into time variance. Now, we're talking about Loki and the time variance. And if anybody has seen the show with Loki, the past on Disney, if they've seen that show, they can understand what I'm talking about. We're talking about time variance, where there was Loki on his show dealing with these people who were like bureaucracy that actually control time. So it's almost like an FBI of keeping control of time. And so these time variants would change time according to what would keep them on the particular timeline that they were instructed to be on. So with that being said, we know that this is a fictional show, but in all things, there are always connections. So what I want to do is let us look at how that show actually connects us to an actual real time variance. Okay. So when we're talking about Loki, I want to talk about Loki as a mythology, because Loki is an actual, European mythology. So when you look on the thing right here, we talk about Loki. It says Loki is in Norse mythology, listen, a cunning trickster who had the ability to change his shape and sex. So this right there sounds much like the Marvel universe version of Loki. Okay, so it says although the father was, now that's a little different because Thor's father, was the father for the like the stepfather, well not stepfather, but like his adopted father. But it says that he was included among the Aesir tribe of gods. Loki was represented as the companion of the great gods Odin and Thor. So this is the part where you talk about. It says helping them with their clever plans, but sometimes causing embarrassment and difficulty for them and himself. So this is very much like the actual Marvel version of Loki. Okay, so it's not. It's kind of close. Okay, I mean we kind of know Loki to be the trickster. For Africans, that would be a Legba or Legwa. Okay, the Legba is the trickster god in melanated African ideology mythology. Okay, so Loki is similar to a Legwa. Okay, so I just wanted to show this though. So Loki was bound to a rock as punishment in many ways, resembling the Greek figure Prometheus. Okay, also Prometheus, Loki was considered the god of fire, so that is important too. Okay, so we're going to look at that, but I wanted you to look at Loki because Loki is a trickster god, and one of the things that we're dealing with in society is we're dealing with technology. I mean, when you look at Islam, um, one of the first things that you taught is that the enemy uses tricks or trickology to keep you from understanding and keep you unbalanced. Okay, that keeping you from being able to take control. So when we're looking at this trickster, okay, when we're looking at this trickster, and we're talking about the Marvel version of Loki, right? Trying to pull it up. You're talking about Loki, right? And in the show, he actually uncovers he uncovers something in the timeline. Okay, this is a spoiler alert for y'all who haven't seen Loki, but I mean, I'm not trying to go too deep into the spoiler alert, but I just wanted to let you know, like in the storyline, Loki actually discovers these multiple timelines are being monitored and controlled. Okay, so not knowing this whole time, the timeline has been controlled for certain outcomes because there's this need to control time so that it won't get out of control and other things won't happen. Okay, so they are manipulating the time in this particular show. Now, why is that important? Now, before I get into that, I do want to say, please like the video, share, subscribe, all that. Okay, and please check out my books on Amazon.com, from Moore's Moabite to Man to the Birth Certificate Explained, which is a hot topic, and the Guide to Religious Marriage. So you can go online and check out any of my books. So, okay, so check that out. Moving right along. All right, now, I want to talk about this now. This is what we talk about, the time change. How do I know that the times change? How do I know that we change timelines or in some form or fashion? This is one of the ways I know. One of the things, if you ever heard of this term of old style and new style. So this is called old and new style dates. You see, old style and new style. See, there's been a change in time because there was a change from the old style, okay, into now we're in this called new style. So there was a change in time because of that. So let's look at this. It says old style, new style are sometimes used with dates to indicate whether the Julian calendar, okay, so we're talking about the Julian calendar, has been adjusted to start on January 1st, even though documents written at the time use a different start of year, or whether a date confirms to the Julian calendar, formally in use in many countries. Okay, so let's look at the Julian calendar. Okay, that's the first calendar. Not the first calendar, but that calendar is the calendar that was used previously to the calendar that we're using now, which is in the new style. Okay, so understand that. It says the Julian calendar formerly in use in many countries rather than the Gregorian. Now, the Gregorian calendar is the calendar that we are using today in your present calendar system. Okay, so the Gregorian calendar is what they have NS, meaning new style. Okay, Julian, old style, Gregorian, new style. All right, check. So closely related is double dating, which uses 2 consecutive years because of differences in the starting date of the year, or includes both Julian and Gregorian dates. Okay, so you may sometimes see a calendar with double dates because these dates also may trace you back to how the Julian calendar ran, okay, versus the Gregorian. So you might see double dates on a calendar, okay, showing you that. But they're saying that there are, because of the difference in the starting date of the year. So when the Gregorian calendar came, it changed the date of when the year started. That's one thing. So check this. So it says beginning in 1582, the Gregorian calendar replaced the Julian in Catholic countries. So understand this. The Gregorian calendar was replaced by Catholics. So Catholics, meaning the Pope and Rome. Pope, was it Pope Gregory, perhaps? Okay. Pope Gregory, as a Catholic, changes the time, changes the calendar. Okay. Now this change was also implemented in Protestant and Orthodox country sometime later. So that you're gonna read about that. We're gonna read about that a little later because the Protestants did adopt it, a few years later, if you will. Okay, but it says in England and Wales, Ireland, and the British colonies. So you're talking about the British colonies. When they're talking about the British colonies, one of those colonies they're talking about is American colonies, the British colonies in the Americas. Okay, now it says that the change of the start of the year and the change over from the Julian calendar occurred in 1752 under the Calendar New Style Act in 1750. So let's think about this. In 1750 or 52 is when they changed from the old style to the new style. So here in America, they changed to the new style in 1752. Okay. That says in Scotland, the legal start of the year had already been moved to January 1st in the 1600s, but Scotland otherwise continued to use the Julian calendar until 1752. So it says many countries and cultures and countries now using the Gregorian calendar have different old style of dating, depending on the type of calendar they're using before the change. So an example is the birth and death of Isaac Newton. So just giving you a brief understanding. So basically we're talking about that the Catholic Church decides to change the calendar system, thus changing the time, the year, when the new year starts. Okay, they said changed it to January 1st. So what was before January 1st? What day was it before January 1st? Okay, so we're going to first look at that. Now, I'm talking about April Fools. Why am I talking about April Fools when we're talking about the beginning of the year? That is because the origins of April Fools hides the true origin of its true holiday, which is this is the beginning of the year. So let's look at this. Okay. They say it is thought that look at April Fool's Day history. It is thought that April Fool's Day first came about in 1582 as French made a change from the Julian to the Gregorian. Okay, so we've already talked about the change. So April Fool's Day, they're saying back before the Gregorian calendar, April 1st or whatnot was considered the first day of the year. So keep that in mind. Okay. And it says while the new year got underway with the spring equinox around the date of April 1st. So once again, you're seeing a correlation with spring and rebirth, which is what you find in Christian theology when you find that Jesus resurrects on Easter. So that is a symbolic of spring, which is where you find the bunny rabbits and whatnot, is attributed to Mithra, which is the goddess of spring. So spring was looked at as the new year. Okay, so I'm not getting too deep but on you. I just want you to understand. So it is saying that while the new year got underway with spring equinox around the date of April 1st in the Julian calendar, it says, but the Gregorian calendar begins the year in January 1st. Therefore, anyone who is still celebrating the new year in the last week of March until the 1st was laughed at and was called April Fools. So that is an interesting understanding, okay? One of the common pranks was to have a paper fish placed on their back with these people then referred to as what's this? Poisson de Avril, which translates to April fish. The significance is that it is supposed to symbolize the young, easily caught fish and a gullible person. Okay, meanwhile in Britain, the traditional caught on in the 18th century, during the 18th century, with it being treated as a 2-day event in Scotland. So April 1st was like this big thing, okay? There is some other historical relevance, April Fool's Day, which this is important, that in ancient Rome, as the festival of Hilaria, which translates to the joyful in Latin, would be celebrated at the end of March by those who are part of the Sabel cult. For this, people would dress up in disguise and mock fellow citizens. So these are other parts of where, we got April Fool's Day. So you're taking an old ancient Roman festival, which, to, I guess, a Christian, that's pagan, but you're taking this pagan or ancient Roman holiday, and you've mixed it with the changing of spring into the Gregorian calendar, which makes people want to change over to the Gregorian calendar and give up the Julian calendar. Because you got to understand, like anything else, when people change calendars, a lot of people didn't want to change. And so what you saw is the Catholics, they implemented this new calendar into society, and the Protestant church, who had already broke away from the Catholics, they kind of resisted and fought against it. What I mean is they didn't accept it, because a lot of times we don't want to change as a people, and a lot of people did not convert over. So it was in a Catholic territories or around the world. You know what I'm saying? It was not necessarily Protestants like England. Like they say, England and them was pretty much a Protestant country anyway. They had already broke away from the Catholic Church, with Henry VIII or whatnot. So they had created their own Anglican church and whatnot. And those people did not consider it until almost 200 years later. Then they converted into the new time, or the Gregorian time. Okay, so let's look at it. Let's to get a real understanding of what I'm talking about. Why I'm talking about this time change. This was a major time change. Okay, I'm going to read this part out of Wikipedia. This is the part talking about the adoption of the Gregorian calendar. Okay, it says through the enactment of the Calendar New Style Act of 1750, which we already discussed, it says the Kingdom of Britain, the Kingdom of Ireland, and British Empire, okay, including much of what we now eastern part of the United States, where we're talking about those 13 colonies or whatnot, okay, in America. It's included in this act, and Canada. And it says they adopted the Gregorian calendar in 1752, by which time it was necessary to correct by 11 days. So listen, so Wednesday, the 2nd of September of 1752 was followed by Thursday, 14th, 1752. Okay. Do you understand what I just said? So you wake up, it's the 2nd of September. You go to bed, you wake up, it's supposed to be the 3rd of September, but it's actually the 14th of September. So this is what I mean by time variance. They were able to take and change from September. It no longer was going to be September the 3rd. It went from September the 2nd to September the 14th. So 11 days was eliminated from society, was eliminated from you. You lost 11 days. They changed time. Okay. And now it says claims that rioters demanded, give us our 11 days. Okay. Grew out of the misrepresentation of a painting by William by William Hogarth. Okay, so this is the picture over here, right? But this is what happened. You lost 11 days. Or not we, but them. They lost 11 days. And and they do this all the time. They change your time back from an hour, you know, daylight savings time. You know, I mean, I'm not, you know, despite what they say it's for the farmers or people to get more daylight, so they change the time back. So they're always messing with the time. So it's not too far fetched to believe that they will change time or can change time to benefit whatever it is they need. Now, a lot of the reason why they say the Gregorian calendar replaced the Julian calendar was because it was it was off. It had become off. The days had become off, and the calendar was not accurate enough to keep the days balanced. That's what they say. Okay, so I'm just saying this is what they say. So now let's look at something so we can understand prior to this Gregorian calendar, which really only came into existence in 1700. You know, when we think about the Gregorian, when we think about calendars, we don't think that we don't think about it that our calendar is like a little bit over 300 years old. The calendar that we're using is just a little bit over 300 years old. Okay, so it's like what 300 and like 70 years old. You know, it's like 372 years old or 370. Actually, it's 370. It'll be 370 on September. So 370 years, this calendar has been in existence. So what was they doing before that? Like they said they had the Julian, but you got a lot of people who use lunar calendar even today. So let's look at the lunar calendar so we can like see where all this came from and why we're off. Because the calendar has also made everything off as well. So our time, when they say that we don't really understand the time of the day, it's really because we don't understand the time no more. Like the days are off even when we're looking at how we worship and everything. Because a lot of times those people were based on uh, a lunar calendar. So like Saturday on a lunar calendar wouldn't be the same day as Sabbath day on Gregorian calendar. Okay, so it's thrown all the days off, changed the days. That means it's changed the time. It's not in sync necessarily with the lunar calendar. Now you can see this right here. I'm using the Hebrew calendar, and this is the old one, and this shows and verifies what was going on. When you look at the number of months, you got 12 months. Now there were 13 months. Okay, 13 months really, and I could maybe show that. I think I got a clip for that, but I'm just going to show you this. If you look at the first month, it was Nisan. Nisan, Abib, had 30 days in it. Okay, corresponding Gregorian months. The months that corresponded with that was March, April. So the first month was March, April again. So we're right there. We're talking about that, right? So look, that means the last month was February, March. Okay. If you look at now, I don't know if I had this up, but if you look at the Aquarian, like if you look at your zodiac, if you look at the horoscopes, the first horoscope is Aries. It starts with Aries. Aries starts in April. Okay, Aries starts really March, April. So March, April is a bib, which is Aries. Okay, they're all correlated with each other, but you see that, right? So if we look at which one was it? Oh, okay. This is right here. This one right here is going to show you. I think this is the one. if I'm correct. Yes, this one right here, uh, which is really this one. So we're looking at December, right? Now let's look at this. Let's look at this. It says that these months still have the Latin numbers in their names. Okay, so we've always been taught. See, this is how to show you. They show you the true intent of those months. When you look at Septuatus or September, it means seven. We were taught in school like octopus or octagon, meaning eight. You got eight tentacles, or in an octopus, or eight sides. A octagon. An octagon is eight sides. Okay, so we got that out the way. No, for November is nine, and we know that Deci means 10. So if December was the 10th month, let's continue. January would be the 11th month, and February would be the 12th. Okay, making March the new year begins. So March 25th through April 1st was considered the New Year celebration. April 1st commemorating the first day of the year. And they got us talking about this April Fool's Day. But it's showing you right here that the time variance, aka Catholic Church, changed the time and day. Right here. So this is just a little bit of information for the people to think about when we're talking about these things that we see on TV and how they really actually correlate with what they're doing and what's going on. You know, for you to really understand time, it would be advisable to go back looking at the moon and understanding the cycle of the moon, because that is the calendar that seems to stay accurate through time. It gives you so many days a month. It gives you those 28 days. Now, like this calendar don't show you, but usually what happens is in the 13th month, February is the 12th, March would be the 13th. So then April becomes the 1st. That's how it normally works. So, but anyway, that's what I got for y'all today. I hope you enjoyed it. Check me out on any more videos we'll be coming up, and please go check out videos that I've done in the past. Like the video, and please subscribe if y'all haven't done it already. Okay, appreciate you. We'll be back for more videos.